course, I went to the University of Illinois with these guys. Well, particularly with Kushal. Ian and John just missed me, I guess. Or I missed him. But I studied journalism, and now I do freelance writing for the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee, and I started my own production company, Team Trust.
So what is Team Trust?
What is Team Trust? I think the better question is, what isn't Team Trust? So Team Trust is a production company that produces films and podcasts and media content to increase human trust. And so right now, 70% of Americans believe that trust is low. And at the same time, people believe that trust is the one thing that is needed to solve problems that we have in society. And so I was thinking about that, and I'm like, man, there are so many ways to go about this. What experiences do I have with trust? And I think the four of us here have experiences trusting other people to help us out. So that would be
Absolutely, yeah.
personal assistants. Yeah. So, I had personal assistants, PAs for, most of my life, and they helped me with various things like showering, using the restroom, getting ready for the day and going to sleep at night. And so that was something I wanted to kind of shine a light on because there's so much trust that we're having a problem with in the world right now. We can't trust somebody we live with or a friend or anybody that maybe we should trust. And so, Team Trust is designed to, find ways to improve that trust. And by trust, we're thinking about healthy relationships and what those look and feel like.
Let's try to take it from like more abstract concept to like something that our audience can understand. What do you guys think is important in building a relationship of trust with personal assistants? Like what things are important?
Are you asking me or everybody else?
I'm asking all you guys.
Who wants to go first?
Well, I mean, I think that like personal assistance, that's like the big example of trust. I think we can all relate to. Our caretakers, I think at least for most of us growing up, were family members, and trust is sort of inherent. You kind of come out of the womb trusting your family, just they're just taking care of you right off the bat. But then making that transition to someone maybe you don't know so well, especially like when you're like maybe away at college in an unfamiliar place with unfamiliar people. I think for me it was like I don't have a choice. Like I have to trust these people or I don't get to live independently. And there's a bit of a risk you have to take there. It's a bit of a leap of faith.
Yeah.
Like you acknowledge the risks that maybe they could walk out on you. Maybe things might not work out. They could just call off one night and you might be left with no one. And so you just have to do everything you can to make contingency plans.
It's something that you build. It's like any other relationship. It's about being sure that somebody is going to be there for you. And I think it goes both ways too. I mean, in college, we were really close to our PAs, and I mean, when we were able to help them out, uh, we did as well. So I think trust, it's kind of like a friendship. You're supposed to maintain like that professional distance and barrier, but I think it's friendship is kind of inevitable, and with that friendship comes the kind of trust that you end up relying on.
For me, as I think is the case for most of us, prior to going to the University of Illinois, my main assistants were my parents. They knew how to help me out, and as I think any family member does, they can help you out without you having to tell them anything. They know what you need, and they're used to your needs. But for most of us, when we went to the University of Illinois, we were just kind of thrown into it. We went from having mom helping us out to essentially having a random stranger helping us use the shower. And that's certainly a unique experience. For me, I was so excited to go to college. I really didn't have a problem with what was going on because I knew that's what I needed at the time. I know my parents were slightly concerned. They
Just a
would have
little bit.
probably just a little bit. They were very concerned. They were concerned that my PAs would drop me. I have brittle bones. If I'm dropped, I'll probably break an arm or a leg, or maybe a couple arms and a couple legs. I've never been dropped, thankfully. I think the trust with the PAs is kind of a forced trust almost. It's more of a reliance, I guess. We're relying on them to help us out, to meet our needs, and the trust I think comes with that. With repetition, so with the shifts we did, the more trust we had that they would show up on time, that they
Yeah.
would get along with us. And naturally, I had PAs show up late. I had PAs miss shifts and not even tell me. Call the cops on one PA.
Oh,
Wait, hang on. You have to tell that story now. You can't just say that and not give us some background there.
I could probably give you some brief information, but no,
Yeah, no
I
personal details. Yeah.
yeah.
I had some items stolen in my apartment one day,
Oh no.
and the only person who would have had access to those items was my PA, as far as I know, unless somebody broke in.
Yeah. Yeah. Just unlikely.
Right.
You never know, but that's certainly an aspect of trust that comes up. Do we firmly believe that a PA won't steal our things?
At that point, it's not even about the stuff. It's just like, can you repair that relationship? Once
Nah, there
someone
was
does
no
something
repairing. I
like
just
that.
said get out of here.
Yeah. Okay. But exactly, like you can't repair it at that point. I think, and for all of us, we all use like our first experience with PAs was at college, and like a lot of the times, a lot of people that work there, it was their first job, so they're
Yeah.
learning how to be responsible, and it's kind of scary when they're just learning that, and then you're the first person they've ever been responsible for in their lives.
Yeah.
Like maybe they've
Been
had a
there.
pet or something, but it's not the same thing.
No, I'm not a dog. I might bark, I might bite, but not a dog. I don't have an interest in milk bones right now.
Have you ever tried bacon strips though?
Bacon strips, maybe. I've eaten some dog treats. They weren't very good.
That was the first dog treat I ever tried on a dare with my friend in like middle school. So I will not say I'm above eating dog food. If
Keep that in mind.
I don't know if I would have a treat. I might. I'm pretty sure I've had kibble like at some point in my life, but I feel like the flavor of the treats are far more potent. I'm not sure I could. I'm picking it up as it is. So.
True.
I mean, plus you gotta consider like I bet with those PAs that we had, they were also learning how to be just independent human beings themselves at the time, on top of helping us be independent.
Yeah.
Like just manage a horse load and live on their own, pay bills, things like that.
So at what point do you guys feel like you really trust a PA? Like when do you know like it's going to work out between you and a PA?
It's a good question.
I would say I don't think there's so much a definite point as it is you just kind of take it day by day and gradually that relationship forms and you guys continue to whoever it is work out and it just keeps going well because I mean You might have a PA for a very long time, and eventually it just ends up, having to change. Maybe they can't do it anymore. Maybe something comes up. Maybe that relationship changes, and it just isn't a good fit anymore. But I don't know that there's necessarily, a Tuesday of 2019 at 6 p.m. I knew this guy was going to be, with me for the next 10 years, without a doubt. So
I understand.
I think for me, it's like it's not any one thing, but it's like I'll give you an example. I had this one PA who I guess noticed one night he was like helping me get to bed that I had like some dry skin and scarring on my elbows just from putting weight on them in the chair. And like his next shift, he brought back like some lotion just from the grocery store to just help give them a little something to. When they make that personal investment into your welfare, I think that really speaks volumes.
definitely.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Shaw, for you, you have like a certain date that Ian is referring to, or
No, not as specific as Ian, but I think it's when, like, eventually when you get to the point where you don't have any anxiety right before they're supposed to show up. Like, you don't even think about the fact, is this guy or girl gonna show up today? Like, when you get to the point where that's not even a thought in your mind, for me, that's when.
I can relate to that. I think I know I have a good PA when I don't have to wonder if they're going to show up on time. Well, for me, when I had PAs, it was the consistency, success, I guess, reaching those little goals, showing up on time, often, and doing whatever we need to take care of.
Yeah. Because, like, for me, I know there's, like, two aspects of the relationship, like what I'm doing and what they're doing. A lot of it does rest on us. Like, how are we reacting when something we don't like is happening? Or when, like, something is happening that we don't approve of or don't like? Are we communicating that? Are we communicating our expectations overall? So I think a lot of it falls on that end too. And that's something when you first start managing PAs, you don't realize how much of it is like what you're doing too. Because, like you said earlier, with parents, you don't have to communicate anything, they just know. PAs, if you're not constantly developing that communication, that open communication, is just not going to work out.
Right. Yeah. Gotta have a healthy relationship. And I think having a PA is a commitment on both ends. It's a commitment for us. It's our job to communicate with them what we need, how we want to be transferred, how we need help with this and that. And they are kind of relying or committing to us that we're going to do that.
I'm so glad that we started on trust. I could talk about just that, just the philosophy of that, just forever, you know. Like personal trust, but then like in a larger sociological sense. Yeah,
Mhm.
trust is. I think that's so cool. I think that's really cool you're doing.
Well, thank you. Yeah, no, with team trust, the idea, of course, is to improve interpersonal trust, but also trust with ourselves.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
It's such a big deal, especially nowadays.
I will just say before I got to go that it was a pleasure speaking with you, Ryan, and I think we were all, very happy to have you, and we would love to have you back again. So,
well,
Definitely.
I really am grateful for the opportunity to talk with you and connect with you, Ian, and reconnect with you, Kushal and John. It's,
It was cool. Yeah, thanks for joining us. Fun.
of course,
Definitely.
anytime.
Alrighty.
Good show, folks.